Hi there. In this video, I'll be showing how to attach a button to a garment in a clean fashion with no visible knots. So first of all, I'll take a length of thread that I'm going to be using. And holding both ends of the thread together, I'll now thread those through my needle simultaneously. It helps if I make them slightly wet, the two ends, so they'll go through together. There they go, both go. And I pull it about 15 centimeters. So there we have it, and as you can see, there's a loop in the thread. Now what I'll do is I'll take my button and the garment, and from the top end, so from the visible side, the button side of the garment, I will be pushing my needle and thread through. So this is from the top, pulling it through, but I won't pull it all the way through. I stop with about 15 centimeters of that loop still hanging out. Then from the back of the cloth, I'll push the needle back through. Now it's important on the back side of the cloth to always keep where you're pushing the needle through in roughly the same area, so that it looks really neat when you're finished. Now you push that through and push it through another hole of the button. Now as you're coming back, loop it through that thread, loop it through that loop that you've left on top of the button. There you go. And now you can pull it tight. And as you pull it tight, the loop closes down on the thread. And there you've got the start of your button threading with no knot. So the next stage is to simply sew on that button, making sure that you get coming out roughly the same place you did last time, and pushing in roughly the same place, just to keep it nice and neat, coming out a different hole. And now you see the advantage of doubling the thread is that you now get two threads tightening on that button every time you go through. Now you should do this the number of times to make it nice and thick, make it nice and strong, and make sure that you do it in such a way that you've got roughly the same number of loops going through each of the two holes. So now I'm going to stop a bit early here. I should actually go on and sew more of the button on, but just for the sake of this video, I want to show you how to end sewing on a button. So turning over, I'm now going to push that needle from the back through, but this time I'm not going to go through the button. I'm going to pull it out between the button and the garment. I'm going to pull that out like that. Okay. And now I'm going to wrap the thread around the threads in between. I'm going to wrap that around about 6 or 7 times. Now it has the advantage, you can do it a bit more if the thread's thin. It has the advantage that it pulls the threads together in between the button and the garment and makes them nice and tight. And it also tightens these loops down, so you've got nothing hanging around to make it vulnerable to being cut or ripped. Now, you've wrapped it through. Now, push it back through to the back of the cloth again. Okay, and now you can clip off your thread. So just clip it off, leaving about 20 centimeters. Now I said no visible knots. In fact, this is going to have one knot, but it's not going to be visible. So first of all, we separate those two threads that we've ended with. We tie them in a knot by going first, taking my left hand, or right hand if you're left-handed, taking my left hand, placing it over top the thread, wrapping it around and tying it off. And now the thread that's in my right hand, put it over top again, the left-hand side, and tie it. Now that makes a really tight knot that can't be undone. If you're slightly superstitious, you can, or you don't trust your knot tying, tie that off a few more times. Now, so there you've got one knot, still visible. So what we're going to do is take our needle and we're going to thread those threads through the needle again. And we're going to go between the two layers of the garment. So not through to behind the button, but between the two layers of the garment. Pull it through, say a couple of centimeters, bring the needle back out. Now we pull that thread through, give it a tug. There. The knot's gone to the back, in between, and we simply cut off that last bit of thread, and you can pull it like that and it's completely gone. So there's your button. No knots visible on the back, no knots used to begin it, and nice and strong.